Well, hello to each and every one of you out there. This is the Inspiration Station with none other than your CEO, Joshua Lennox, your Chief Encouragement Officer. It is April the 24th, 2026. Today, as you guys are coming in, things are going to be a little different, being a little different moving forward. I'll say a little bit more as I go forward, but I just want to say that I hope all of you have had an amazing day and are still having an amazing day. How many people have already seen Michael? I have not seen Michael yet, but I'm looking forward to going to see it probably Sunday. I think I'm going to go and let everybody get the rush, get the rush crowds and things like that. But I'm so excited. I can't wait to at least see. I've heard some reviews back, and I still want to go and I want to see it for myself and make my own judgment of it. But I'm excited nonetheless. But as you guys are coming in, as I always say, let me know how your day has been, your week has been. What are some things that you are challenged with that you have overcome? And as I always say, we're going to be faced with challenges. I have challenges right now just as well as you do, but we know that we will overcome them because we overcome what tries to come over us. So I want to say hello to everybody out there. Let's see, I guess this would be YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Not so sure about other platforms right now, as I will be able to explain a few things with you guys in just a minute because actually we're going to do a little something different. But also, as you guys are coming in, if this is your first time here on the Inspiration Station, I want to say welcome to you. For all of you all who take the time out to be here on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I thank you. It's especially being a year and for almost 5 months now. So I'm just grateful to still be here and seeing how things have continued to expand and also when things are shifting and changing. All changes are good because all things work together for our good. So I'll get right into it. The Inspiration Station, again, is just a place where we are making sure that we are aware that we are inspirations not only to each other, but also to ourselves. We have plenty of layers and years in our lives that we can refer back to remind us that we are inspirations to ourselves greater than we think. We have some things we can look back on to push us further and remind us that there's nothing that we can't do, there's nothing that we can't attain, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. So also we're open, we're honest, and we're vulnerable, not just with each other, but also with ourselves, because the relationship that is often neglected is the one with self. We're also not just being inspired, we're not just being motivated, we're not just being encouraged, but we're also putting things into action. When you leave the inspiration station, you might go out and just do actions immediately, but your actions may start just as brainstorming, as thinking, as a thought to get you toward making some action or becoming action oriented. We'll also have people who will be coming on to be interviewed from far and wide, well known and maybe not as known, but as I always say, everyone is a superstar. People dropping in to give us some nuggets, some tools in our toolbox, and add some things to our first aid kits, and just to help aid us as we continue to go along in this journey called life. Today, I want to really explain to you guys just really quick. I want to say that I will be showing something, you'll be watching something that was from February, which was titled You'll Be Unrecognizable. How many of you guys remember that one? It's very good. Well, everything we do here is good and it only gets better. But you'll be watching You'll Be Unrecognizable. I think this is a time possibly where we all need to be reminded that as a lot of shifts are going on in your lives right now, some of you guys are going into the unknown, uncharted territory. You're becoming a newer person. You're becoming a person that you've not met before. Some of your gifts and talents and skills are developing in ways that you've not ever seen before. You're going in different directions, career-wise, ministry-wise, professional-wise, financially, socially, relationship-wise, whether that's in your marriages, whether that's in dating, whether that's in courtship, whether that's in friendships, whether that is in just every aspect of your life that you see is shifting. And I want you all to be open to the shifts that are happening in your lives because it's all for your good. The Word of God says that all things work together for the good of the Lord, for the good of them that are called according to his purpose. I hope I didn't just jack that up. I'm gonna say it again, but for Romans 8 and 28 says, for that we know that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So if things are starting to shake up, That's because you're going up and glowing up and growing up. You're going up, you're glowing up, and you're growing up. The inspiration station is taking a shift right now. I'm not sure exactly what the direction is going to look like or how things are going to be manufactured. However, I am a person who knows how to keep it moving. I'm a person who does not stop easily. I'm a person who will take what I have and keep it and turn it into something even greater. And I also believe that when you have faith, you trust God for all things. You can't always put your trust in people, systems, structures, but also be very grateful for what has gotten you to where you are or led you to where you are because some endings are necessary. And the endings that are necessary doesn't have to be bad or negative or anything like that. It just might mean that there's another tier or level that you're going to, and certain things get you to where you are, and then you take up ranking with other entities or other people or other structures or whatever that is, and you move forward. So you'll be unrecognizable in just a second. So I'm gonna get out of here, and I hope that you all, as I always tell you, have an amazing rest of this day, rest of this weekend, and also I'll say the rest of this month, y'all, because we're almost in May that quickly. So I will see you soon. I will keep you updated as I'm not so certain on how everything's going to look. But one thing I'm going to say is that it's going to keep going. And if anything else, it's going to be better, look better. All changes are good. And as I always tell you, we do not take L's, such as loss. The only L's we take are lessons. So you take with whatever you have, whatever comes in your life, again, and remind yourself there's nothing that you can't overcome and nothing that you can't achieve. And just realize some things have to change and shift for your good because of where you're going. And you don't always know the steps to that. So I love y'all. Y'all stay tuned. You'll be unrecognizable. The next voice you'll hear will be some guy named Joshua Lennox. I think you guys might be familiar with him. His name sounds, it rings a bell a little bit, but stay tuned and see what he has to say. But if nothing else, I will see y'all next week on Friday, right here on the Inspiration Station. Talk to y'all soon. Bye. Y'all, it is Friday evening. Let's get right to it. All I want to say to y'all is you'll be unrecognizable. Can we all just put our hands on ourselves and say, I'll be unrecognizable? And I'm telling you, you'll be unrecognizable. What's the definition of unrecognizable? Does anybody want to tell me? No? Okay. Well, y'all, I've been doing hooked on phonics for real. Like, I'm really getting good. I can read and I can write better and stuff, and I can say big words like information and stuff like that. I'm just so proud of myself. Some of y'all are probably laughing, and that's okay. You know, it's okay. It's not funny. It's something I've really been working hard on because I couldn't read. But anyway, y'all know I got to be silly. But definition of unrecognizable is unrecognizable means not able to be identified or recognized because something has changed so much, or is something that was never familiar enough. Also, it could be that it no longer matches what you expect. I read that again. Unrecognizable means not able to be identified or recognized because something has changed so much. Let that sit with you. Changed so much. Or was never familiar enough, or something that no longer matches what you expect. So, title of this, I want to say not only you'll be recognizable, it comes from a place where I went to the grocery store it was a couple of days ago. Yeah, well, this past weekend, y'all, and so last weekend. And I was looking for spinach. I love spinach. I know some of y'all probably like, yuck, but I love spinach. And I didn't really like it when I was a kid, but as I became an adult, which was in just, 2 years ago, I really, really enjoy eating spinach. And I didn't want to be Popeye the Sailor Man, so y'all get that out of your mind. But I'm looking for it. I know what it looks like going in the grocery store. I know exactly where to get it from. I've been doing this for years, so I know exactly where it is. And if anybody knows me personally, I do love to go to the grocery store. And some people think that something's wrong with me, but I love to go to the grocery store. I don't ever have to make a list. I can just internalize what I need to get. I will go in and get out. It doesn't matter if it's Walmart, Kroger, Publix, Harris Teeter, whatever the store is, I can get in and get out. I'm not about to be walking around looking, staring. I need to get in whatever I need to get and get out as fast as possible. And I'll move fast anyway. So looking for the spinach. And I'm going back and forth in the frozen section. I'm like, wait a minute. Now I know this whole fake ice storm that was supposed to come, people went crazy. And, it's almost like the stores are having a hard time restocking. And I'm like, I know this, it's always right here. It's because I'm looking where the other vegetables are. I'm like, it's always going to be above this. And I'm like, well, now wait, hold a minute now. I'm about to call a manager and say, hey, where the spinach at? Because I know it's some up here. And I went back and forward, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, I felt like I searched all over, couldn't find no spinach. I couldn't. And I took a minute and just stood there. I took a break, took a little pause. And when I looked, I said, I think that's it right there. And sure enough, y'all, the very thing that was right in my face, I had gone back and forth from, I overlooked it. Why? Because it changed the packaging. So the outside of it looked totally different. I was used to a certain pattern. I used to certain colors. I used to certain font. Everything that I knew before was completely gone. So I opened up the freezer and I was like, I know you lying. Like I gotta sit up here. This is not even this would have been, it was completely unrecognizable. And had I not had some patience and took a moment and stood still and paused for a moment, I would have been like, well, I'll come back when I feel like when I think they have, or either I'm gonna go over and get some in the produce or whatnot. And it just stuck with me. I was like, this was totally unrecognizable. The thing I've known to get for several years that had this outside packaging, it no longer, the label and everything was totally changed. So it was unrecognizable. Why I want to share this with you guys really quick tonight is that there are things about you, even if you are not always aware of it, that are causing you to be unrecognizable to your past, whether that be your people you've known for years, maybe your people in your hometown, maybe it's even your family, maybe it's your old friends, maybe it's people who always knew you in business, knew you with your talents, your gifts, your skills, in whatever capacity. And now when they see you, it's almost like they don't recognize you, and you might not even know that. So I want to go through really quick 6 steps, but I want to keep it in the lines of the grocery store. Okay. So y'all can bear with me, sit still, hold your breath for just a little bit. We're going to go through this, but the first thing I want to say, and I'm going to call this the grocery shelf stages of transformation. The grocery shelf stages of transformation. So think of yourself, if you want to think of yourself as a box of cereal, do that. If you want to think of yourself as a loaf of bread, maybe if you want to think of yourself as the spinach in the frozen food section, whatever you want to choose yourself, pick yourself to be, that's what you be. If you want to be a whole family pack of chicken, be that. But the first thing is, and all of this is just pertaining to, I want you to open your eyes and be a little bit more clear on how you are evolving and changing. And also, it will cause your environment, it'll cause people to see you differently. It'll cause people to receive you differently. It'll cause people to question you in a way because they're not used to what they're seeing. And think of yourself, like I said in my story of trying to find the spinach, it was right there in my face all the time, the whole time. The very thing I needed and what I was familiar with was right in my face. I just couldn't recognize it because it changed. So, first step is called the usual reach. Okay, the usual reach. Again, think about it. I'm saying I was going to get the spinach. I know exactly where to reach up to. Open that door, reach up there at the top shelf and get it, and I'm in and out. Well, people reach for you by muscle memory. 'Cause that's what they're used to, right? They know exactly how to get in contact with you. They know how to talk to you. They know how to come to where you are or whatever that is. They expect the same access, tone, and availability you once offered. When it's not there, confusion shows up before curiosity. Think about that. The confusion shows up before curiosity. Like I said, I was like, where is this stuff? I'm so used to it being right here. I never wondered, I wonder, did they move that? I wonder, did they change the outside packaging? I never really was curious, but that's the way that some of you all, if you are already feeling something, wave in the comments, put a comment in and say, yeah, you talking right, Josh, or that's me right now. Because even as you are growing, even as this year has been so far in February, maybe there's some things you no longer offer to people. Certain people aren't able to just call you immediately, but people are so used to who you've been. They're so used to you being that person to pick up the phone if they need you. They're so used to you always having that holly jolly tone in your voice, always so welcoming and warm, and maybe not so direct anymore. Maybe now you're becoming assertive. Maybe now you're having certain boundaries where you have a cutoff time when you talk to people on the phone, or maybe you got your phone on do not disturb at a certain time. Maybe you're a person who's not so freely giving as much. You're no longer that doormat. You're no longer that person that's the yes person. You're no longer that person who's bending over backwards. You're not that person trying to bridge the gap for everybody. And you might not have your calendar open for people like you used to. Maybe because now your life has changed. You have different demands on your life. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your children, your spouses. Maybe you're dating. Maybe you have a boyfriend. Maybe you have a girlfriend. Maybe you have a certain obligations with business, certain obligations with events, certain obligations to your calling, to your skills, your with something that you're building or creating, certain innovations that you have. So it's like I don't have a lot of time to just talk to people anymore. So people are used to reaching out to you in certain ways, and they're not able to. And maybe before they kind of wonder, have a little curiosity, they're confused. All right. So the second point is the scan. As you remember, I was looking around. I was like, looking up, looking to the sides, looking, all around. The scan is the search. They search the shelf. The shelf. Remember, I told you all, whatever you want to be, you're on the shelf at the grocery store. So they search the shelf. These are people who've known you, people who've known you from the past, even the present. Um, they search the shelf for familiar markers, things that are familiar to them. Your old reactions, your former pace, the version of you that fit easily into their routine. Also, recognition is still happening. It's just outdated. So they still know you, they still see you, they still recognize you, but it's it's surpassed who you're becoming now because now you're becoming beyond where you were. Y'all remember my thing I love to say about how you shake your hand, you make an agreement to go from one version of yourself to another, but you have to make the agreement or you stay where you are. But because of that, people might be used to you. Maybe you're the person who likes to pop off. If somebody say the wrong thing to you, you ready to cuss them out left, right, up, and down. But maybe now you respond in a mild manner, or maybe you don't respond at all. Maybe people are used to you being so fast paced on the go, on the go, on the go, and now you've slowed some things down. Or maybe you're a person who used to be cool, calm, collected, and now you're a go speed racer, go speed racer. You're always on the go. You're a person who's in great demand. Maybe you went from maybe having a 9 to 5 to now you work based upon your life. Maybe you have something all day. Your days are fully stacked and people are not used to that, so they're kind of scanning like it's almost like this. Think about in the South, people's porches are this is a serious thing is everybody can't come on the porch but you see people sitting on the porch and they're always scanning stuff. They always seeing waving new familiar cars coming by. But what if that neighbor over there, they start to notice that they're not parking in the front of the house anymore, they're parking in the back of the house. So now they're probably scanning like, Irma Jean ain't parked in the front like she used to now. I don't see her car no more. So it's like a person is picking up on certain patterns of yours that have changed. They see maybe you're not in certain places that you used to be. You're not frequenting them anymore. You're not going around certain crowds of people like they're used to you doing. They're not seeing you have certain habits like you used to, certain hobbies, certain interests. So they're scanning your life. They're searching for what they used to know to be so familiar, and it's putting them in a place of just kind of being like, I'm recognizing that I'm it's just some is different, but I can't put my finger on it, and it's not something that's familiar to me. The next one, y'all, is called the miss. The miss, the MISS. You're fully present and clearly stocked. So you're there. Like I said with the spinach, y'all, it was bam right in my face. But you're overlooked because transformation changed your presentation. Again, the outside of who you are, how you show up, what you look like, even how you dress, how you speak, how you carry yourself. All of those things are changing. This is often where you feel unseen, even though you're right in front of the people. You're right in front of the person, but it's almost like they're just overlooking you because they're waiting for you to show up with something. What if you're a person who always wore? I remember I have a cousin. He used to love to wear gold chains and have his all this stuff and his big white tees and stuff like that. And he turned his life around. He just wanted a different change. He wanted to change. Now I think he owns multiple businesses, has a family, has beautiful children. All of them are grown now. I can't understand that, but when I saw him for the first time, it had been years. When I saw him and I heard him call my name, and I was actually at my church. I was at my church, and I remember walking to my car and I heard Josh, Josh, and I turned around like, Who is this calling me? Hey, how you doing? Praise the Lord. Who is this? How you doing? He was like, cuz, how you doing? I was like, hey. I didn't even recognize him. And y'all want to know what? He was standing right in front of me for a long period of time when I first got to church, before I went into the rehearsal hall with the choir. He was standing right in front of me. I had no idea. But it's because the outside presentation, he had on a suit. He had his hair was cut really short and just, crispy clean. I was used to the dreads. I was used to the chains. I was used to the big white tees. He had lost a lot of weight. He looked like a totally different person. So again, as I say, people can easily miss you because you have upgraded your style, how you dress, how you look. Maybe you done got your fitness together. You done slimmed down. People might not recognize you. Maybe you walk differently. Maybe you're a person who used to walk with your head down or your shoulders all lowered or whatnot. Maybe now you walk with such confidence, you could walk right past people and they'll be like, and they might not even know that it was you. Or also, maybe you're around a group of people, or you're in certain places, spaces, so people would not even think of you being in those places or being around those groups of people, being on a certain platform, and or you speaking or projecting in a certain way with your voice, because you're a person who always would talk like this. You didn't really speak up. But then when you finally let your voice be heard, people wouldn't even, they would just overlook you. So this can be the miss that comes after the scan. Next is the pause. Yeah, I remember I told you I paused when I really got the send, and I was like, I know this finish has got to be. So I just stood still for a moment. The pause is when something interrupts the autopilot. When people are just on the usual, on the go, 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 not really paying too much attention, but they take a second glance. So this is a moment of attention. This is where real recognition begins and when familiarity gives way to noticing. So again, as I want to use my cousin again, I hope if he's watching, probably like, I'm gonna get you. But even in that moment, like I talked about the autopilot, I was so used to going to church, doing my thing. Okay, I'm walking in. I want to speak to people sometime before I go in the choir room, whatnot. He's standing right in front of me. I had no idea. But what if I would have this is just an example because I didn't do this, but what if I would have looked at him and been like, he looks really familiar. That would have been some level of a pause. I would have taken a second glance and my full attention would have been on him. I would have been. So I recognized him, or I would have recognized something would have been familiar to me. But I would have just been, it just would have been something I noticed. I would have known right away. So it was recognition. So again, with my cousin, or just like with the spinach, I paused for a second. I looked and I was like, could that be it at the top? People are going to do you the same. And let me say this too. When we talk about second glances and things of that nature, that might be where people are shocked to see who you're becoming. They're shocked to see you doing the things that you're doing. They're shocked to see that you are raised up higher than maybe what they thought. I remember having someone tell me one time, it was something that God really blessed me to be able to do. And I was already, y'all know how I told you I'll be crying. I was like, thank you, Lord, thank you. Something major he allowed me to do that I never thought I would have been able to do. And standing before the people I was standing before to do it. And I remember a person coming up to me and I appreciate it. It was kind of, at first I was like, what did they just say? They literally said, I would have never imagined you doing stuff like this. I was like, in my head, I'm like, why never? Like, dang, like I know I was the underdog. I was in the background sometime, but never? Wow. But that's how some people view you. Some of you all have excelled in ways that have made people's heads swim. And they're still they're mind boggled. So that sometimes they have to even pause with even the person you continue to evolve to, even your family around you, even right now in your life, people are probably looking like, is that them? That is them. Did they just do that? They did just do that. Did they just get that new house? Wow, okay. Did they just they got a whole family now? I thought they was always gonna be single. I had to kind of do a double take. Whatever it is that you're succeeding in as just a person, not just your achievements, but who you're becoming. People may have always thought you were going to be where you were, who you were, and maybe you would never grow. And actually, some people wish you would probably stay where you were because that made them feel comfortable. So, this is what we call the pause. The next step is the update. They realize it's you. You're refined, you're clarified, you're rebranded by your growth. The essence doesn't change. You're still the core of who you are, but your boundaries, your values, and your self respect did. Now, if I go back to the spinach, I noticed immediately, bam, I found the spinach, but it's updated. It's a change. It's totally different. It is, and it is, y'all. If I could show y'all the difference, it was refined and clarified and rebranded literally. But you are the same thing. You're a refined version of who you were. You have grown in so many different ways. I know some of y'all probably think, God, you look back, you're like, I am so glad I'm not how I used to be. I don't think how I used to think. I don't carry myself how I used to. I don't speak the way I used to speak. I don't hang around certain places or certain people like I used to. And it doesn't mean that you demean or look down on things. It's just like you recognize your growth. I remember being told when I was very young, your years should not look identical. And sometimes my grandfather would say, sometimes your months need to look different. They should look different. They should not look identical. You should always be growing, and something should be distinctive about each month. And that's something I live by. When I do look back at my life, and I hope that you're looking back at your life right now, your years do not look identical. Your months do not look identical. Shoot, sometimes your weeks or days don't even look identical because there's always something added to you, always something changing with you if you're paying attention to it. We don't want to miss out on those small details, right? And we talk about boundaries, values, and self respect. When you do start to have boundaries in place, this does one or two. This was one thing that I really love to see, even with like my clients. I always tell them, be prepared for resistance. So this update part we're in, be prepared for resistance when you start to say no. Be prepared for resistance when you start to really have self-respect for yourself. That is definitely a huge boundary. And when your values change, valuing your maybe you value your time more than you ever did. Maybe you value family more than you ever did. Maybe you value um, trying new things. Maybe you value your, I don't know. It's just so many things that's coming to my mind, y'all. That's why, excuse me just for a moment, because when I think about that, when you do update your life, you do start to really see who is around you and who they really are. Are they around you because what they can get from you, how they could benefit from you, or benefit from this version of you? But as soon as you update, it's like, oh, wait a minute, you sent something to my nervous system, and I don't like it. I don't like this update version of you. Now, look, what if I looked at that spinach in the store and was like, I don't know if I want to get this because it's got a different label. That sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. Even if the product is still the same, the presentation has changed, right? So this is what it talks about. People will realize it's you. You're still the essence of who you are, but you've upgraded. You've been updated. Now let me upgrade you. Let me upgrade you. Come on, Beyonce. But anyway, the last thing is the choice. I hope you all are enjoying this. We're about done, but the last point, which is number 6, is the choice. Now comes discernment. Okay. Some choose to engage with the new version of you. Others prefer the old packaging. Both responses are information, not a verdict on your worth, though. Just as I was speaking about boundaries, you make some changes in your life, you upgrade. Some people will probably run to this new version of you or remain because they're so happy to see you doing better, happy to see you're wiser, happy to see that you're stronger, happy to see that you're growing so much, and that they see that a person they've never seen before thriving like never before. So they're cheering and they're right there with you. They're so excited to see all the differences within you. Then you have people who are just not, they don't have the capacity to go where you're going. They don't have the capacity because also you might challenge them because they're staying stagnant because that's their choice. They're staying in the same place because that's their choice. They don't see higher than where they are, and that might be just their choice. But that doesn't mean that you have to stay there. So just knowing people get to make a choice when they see this new improved you, this new addition of you, this new transformation of you, they get to make a choice. And either way, this has nothing to do with your worth. If they choose to remain on this person that you're evolving to, praise the Lord. If they choose to depart, praise the Lord. Because some things, as we even talked about in the store, we being on the shelf, because we're using that right, some things have to expire. So we need whatever is going to expire to exit. We don't want to carry things on this new journey that we're on that are expiring. And like I said to y'all before, who wants to have moldy stuff around you? Who wants to have stuff that's expired? spoiled? No. So when you update, you don't apologize for your update. And it gets to be the person, the other people's choice. They get to choose whether they want to be in your life. Just make sure that you choose who you're becoming first, because that's what matters the most. And even as all of this stuff, when we talk about being unrecognizable, I want you to be aware that you will even be unrecognizable to yourself. Linking back to what I taught you guys several weeks ago about when you're in a position of where you're almost entering a orientation and training of who you're becoming. Because now I got to learn my roles have changed, my responsibilities have changed, who I surround myself changes, how I protect myself changes, how I speak changes. So when you're updated, as many of you already are, and you're going to continue to do that. Just like a software update, there are things always updating you. And as you do that, you might notice that some people might be uncomfortable with who you are, and that's okay because they've served their time. We don't want to carry what's expired into the next evolution. So whatever is expired, let it exit. Okay? So those are my 6 points, y'all. As I said, with you'll be unrecognizable. The first thing is people will have their usual reach. Then they'll try to scan you, try to figure some things out, and then they'll miss the miss, which they'll overlook who you are and how you move in, how you change, because they won't even be able to really notice. They're trying to recognize what's something that's usual about you so that they could have a connection. But then there's the pause. Then there's also the update, and then you have the choice. And just make sure that the choice, after all of that, make sure you're always, because you will be unrecognizable to yourself. So you might even go through these stages with yourself. But just make sure when you're choosing in the choice part, make sure you're choosing you and embrace those who choose you and release those who don't. Okay. I want to leave just three things with you. Real quick lines I want you to kind of think about, meditate too, when you think about this being unrecognizable, which all of you all are in that right now, and you're going to continue to be because you don't have a choice. Nobody, we're not staying in the same place, right? Okay. So, first thing is you didn't disappear. It's talking about who you were. You didn't disappear, you were redesigned. Just like the spinach, y'all. The spinach was right there. It was just a new design on it. It was a new design. It was repackaged. That's the same thing with you. You didn't disappear. You just redesigned. Also, transformation doesn't remove you from the shelf. It changes who can recognize you. Because guess what? New people, I'm sorry, as you're becoming new and evolving, people who are becoming new and evolving probably will see you before anybody else does, be able to spot you out before anybody else does, gravitate you to you before anybody else does. Also, the last thing is growth doesn't make you harder to find, only harder to mislabel. Growth doesn't make you harder to find, only harder to mislabel. Because now that you're changing, evolving into something you've never been, people might not know how to label you. They might not know how can I put it? They don't know how to address you. They don't know how to approach you because they see something that they've never seen before in you and come out of you. So, y'all, we have reached our time on the Inspiration to Space Station. I hope that you all got some wisdom up out of this. And the action part in this is starting to recognize what might be unrecognizable to you because you are changing. And it might be things that you look in the mirror at yourself, you're like, I don't really know who you are right now. You're totally different. Or paying attention to how people show up in your life or how they're paying attention to the changes you're making. And you paying attention to how people have changed or maybe shifted because you've updated, you've been upgraded. Okay, this is not in a way of thinking you're grandiose or you think that you're so much better than anybody. This is all about you wanting to be the best version of yourself at all times. And we want people around us to do the same thing, but that's not your obligation nor your responsibility to make sure that they do that. Okay? So I love y'all greatly. Please enjoy the rest of your Friday. Please share this. Please spread it, spread it, spread it like butter on a piece of bread. That sounds good right now. Can't have it. But anyway, again, I will see you guys when 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And my international family, I love y'all dearly, and you all know your time zones much better than I do. I want to say this one thing before we leave too. Embrace the change, even when it's uncomfortable. Because being unrecognizable to who you are makes you recognizable to what you've never seen. Y'all got that? Recognize to what you've never seen to your future. Your future, in a sense, is already seen you. You've never seen it. So what might be unrecognizable about your future's been awaiting for you. It's waiting for you to show up. But not in it's in the new version, the updated version, the upgraded version of who you are today. So embrace the change. I think the song says, a wonderful change has come over me. A wonderful change has come over me. And a wonderful change has come over you too. Have an amazing Friday. Have an amazing weekend. I will see y'all next Friday. Y'all already know the times. If you don't know the time, you need to go back and watch this and write it down and get your hooked on finance with me. So I love y'all and know that you are unrecognizable because you're changing. The past is in the past. Our status is changing. We're moving toward the future every day. And the old you is just not going to be able to stand close to who you're becoming. And that might also mean the people that you're familiar with won't be able to do that either. So I love y'all. Spread this now. Share it now. Like it, subscribe, wherever. And I'll see y'all next Friday. Bye.